Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hobby Lodge, and this evening I'm going to be doing a video on Blackpool Play Expo 2022, and it is the night that I have returned. I've still got the wristband on my arm, I'm still wearing the t-shirt that I was wearing at the expo today, so this isn't like the next day or anything, and I've just got off of a over 6 hour drive. And I'm very tired, but I always like to do these videos if I've ever been out to something when I've got back, because there's a load of stuff that's fresh in my mind that I want to talk about, rather than doing it in the next couple of days. So hey, if you can be okay with me looking a bit tired and maybe forgetting a few things, I will try and talk about as much as I can from the event. So what is it, first of all, for people that don't know? Play Expo, I believe, happens all over the country throughout the year, and Blackpool is one of the big ones, and it's one of the well-known ones as far as I understand. And for me, a lot of the YouTube community or retro community attend, so I was really keen to go and meet some of the people that I've spoken to, either in their live streams, or I'm subscribed to their channels, or they've subscribed to me and talked to me in my chat on live streams I do, or my videos and comments. So it's great to sort of get in and meet some of these people in person that I've been meeting digitally for some time now, right? So that was for me the big driver for going, because it's a long way. I live down in Kent, so Kent to Blackpool is a fair old drive. So yeah, I went up there by myself. It did take up the way about 5 hours to drive up on Saturday morning, and then a bit longer to come home because there was terrible traffic on the classic on the M25, right? So yeah, Blackpool, never been to Blackpool myself. It looked like a really nice place. I think something I would definitely do in future is try and have some downtime in Blackpool. I didn't really get a chance to, it's like when you go out for work trips or something, you can say you've been to these places. I've been to many countries all over the world. I've been to airports and hotels. I couldn't say I've been there. So Blackpool, I feel like I whistled through. Like, I saw the drive-in, I saw the hotel, I saw a little bit of the pleasure beach, the tower, and just a very small part of the town. But in future I would love to see more, because I didn't get a chance to see that all the lights. We were lucky that there was a fireworks display going on, so we caught some of the fireworks while we were there. But somewhere I definitely want to go back to, and maybe have a downtime day to actually spend some time around the place. The voice is also very croaky, and this is, I think, due to the actual expo. They kept pumping dry ice or fog machine into the place, and it feels like it's left me with a really sort of dry throat from coming home. So yeah, if I sound a bit more husky, maybe that's a good thing, hey? Yeah, let me know. But yeah, definitely feel like a bit of a tight throat. Anyway, let's jump more into the actual expo itself, right? So there were sort of a bunch of key areas, really. There was the location itself in the Norbrick Castle Hotel, and from a distance it does actually look like a castle. You definitely know that's the place to go. Huge building, actually, quite a large hotel. Must be quite a few rooms there, broken into some little bits, here, there, and everywhere. But the hall was right at the very back, and a good sized hall. Really good amenities everywhere. There was a bar, there was a restaurant, there was all sorts in there. But once you actually got into the expo, the biggest area, the main hall, was with an arcade and a retro console area. So in the arcade, there was a ton of arcades. There must have been, I'll guesstimate 50, maybe more arcade machines. And from what I saw, a good majority of them within working order. There was a few that weren't. But you got to remember, people play these things. Not everyone's nice with things, sadly. As I've said in one of my previous videos, people, I don't know why, people sometimes feel the need to break stuff, or at least try and hack it, or whatever it is they're trying. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. They're all free play, whatever. But anyway, some great machines in there. Standout ones for me that I hadn't had a chance to really play before. Tron, really enjoyed playing Tron. I got to the point where I was able to, complete all the levels and go through another cycle and doing it. Really enjoyed that. Hot Rod, 4-player Hot Rod in the middle of the room. That was really cool to play. And actually, that was one of the nice things. Playing games with more than one person. Often you stand at an arcade machine and you play a single player game. One of the things I really enjoyed was, for instance, getting to play Gauntlet with 4 people, right? So there was myself, U-Star Gamer, Knots Gamer, Paul Retro Bay, Sajin GP Gaming. I'll talk about these guys all later. But we were walking around the hall quite a lot together. So any games we saw that were multiple players, we jumped on. So playing Gauntlet with 4 people was really cool. You don't often get to do that. Playing the Simpsons fighting game, all 4 players, again, a great experience. Hot Rod, all 4 players, and so on and so forth. So it was quite nice to play arcade games with multiple people, multiple players, especially the 4-player. Right, that's always quite unique to get 4 people to stand together and play a game. So really enjoyed that experience, but of course loads of single player games as well. Some good shooting games, of course. Point Blank was there. I love Point Blank, but I play that at home all the time. It was Tron was the one that stood out for me. I love playing. So yeah, went around loads and loads of arcade machines. Can't remember them all. Outrun, Star Wars, Sega Rally, Daytona, just loads, and some that I'd never seen before, some really old school games. Robotron was there, Missile Command, I love playing that game. So there's a whole bunch now I really enjoyed, and that was a good half of the hall, like a really big area. Then at the back end of that hall was all of the retro consoles. So again, loads and loads of consoles, stuff that you would expect to see, and then stuff that I'd never even seen before. I was really happy actually because I got to have a go finally on a Virtual Boy. I've seen these around. I've never had the pleasure of playing one. I've never known how good it was. I've seen screenshots of them, obviously. I've seen videos of them, but I've never put my eyes into one and actually played it. And I was really surprised how good it is. It's a really, really good console. I don't know if I might have to try and get one. I know they're super expensive. I was playing the Wario game. I don't know what it's called. But it's a Wario platformer. And the moment you jump from foreground to background and back again, it's really cool. Really crisp screen. Obviously it's very simple graphics. It's basically Game Boy but in red. But up close to the eyes, I suffered with no weirdness or sickness or anything like that. I thought it was playing really crisp. Obviously it's a bit weird because you can't see the control in your hand, but once your fingers know where the buttons are, you're golden, right? And I was really enjoying playing that. So yeah, Virtual Boy, of all of the consoles that were there, all the classics, all the 8-bit, all the 16-bit and 32-bits and so on and so forth, everything you'd expect to see, for me the standout was the Virtual Boy. And again, everything was working. Most things. I know some people had some issues. Retrobate might have broken a joystick. Luckily, I had one in my bag. I just bought a cruiser, which I'll show you later. I will go through my pickups later. But it's actually here. It's next to me. I don't know why I was looking over there for it. But yeah, I had a joystick that I just bought in the market, so I got my joystick out of my bag. I plugged into the Commodore, and away I went. I was playing Pang on the C64. Of course, an awesome game. But yeah, just a whole plethora of games there, loads to go over. Hopefully I'm showing footage of it all, so you're not just looking at this silly face that's very tired. You're looking at awesome footage from the actual expo. So yeah, loads to go around there. And then over to the right, there was a bit of an indie area. So there was people showing off loads of Dreamcast games, so new developed Dreamcast games, games like Postal, Intrepid Izzy, which I've shown on my own channel, the Rally Rash, I think it's called, which is a isometric sort of rally game. I have that as well. I believe I've done a video on it, so I may try and link things on the screen. The other side of that table was where the Spectrum Next was. So loads of games for the Spectrum Next, actually getting to sit and play with them. One of them being what looked like, to me, I didn't get confirmed, but it was Castle Wolfenstein running on a Spectrum Next. So I think that's going to be very popular if and when that gets released. And then there was an area there was a guy who created Flea and Tapeworm. Flea is a game that's been out on pretty much everything, right? There's a NES cartridge for it. There's an Evercade compilation with Flea on. I believe it's also on Dreamcast. I think it came out on most things. I think the guy tried to get it out there as much as he could. And it's actually a really good game. Tapeworm, very similar. In fact, there are bits in Tapeworm that crosses over with Flea, which I thought was quite cool. But Tapeworm, a bit more puzzle-based, but still a really nice game. And the thing that got me most excited about it was there was a tape laying on the table. Now I picked it up straight away. I was, oh, tape, what's this? And it was a music tape. And I said to him, oh, what a shame. I thought that was going to be a Commodore 64 version of Flea. And he went, well, actually, I am working as a kind of side hobby project. There's no guarantee this will ever appear, but he is working on a C64 version of Flea and maybe even Tapeworm. So... And I also said to him, well, of course, if you're going to do the C64 version, you're going to also do the Amiga version, right? Yeah, that's something that he's doing. It may never happen. It's a kind of a hobby project of his. But hey, wouldn't that be awesome, right? New games on the Commodore 64, new games on the Amiga. You know I love my homebrew and my indie stuff, so it'd be great to see if, and if they came out, well, I said to him they have to come out physically, right? And he's absolutely agreed. So I'd love to see that on disc and on a tape, and I would absolutely pick those up. So really nice area there, great to go around that. And then there was a main stage, so there was lots of talks going on there. There was a talk, obviously, from the great John Romero, who obviously developed Doom. So he was up there and talking about Doom. You could also go and see him in the market area, where you could buy his book and a poster and a huge mouse mat and have him sign it and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I mean, that guy's a legend, right? He created one of the first internet distributed video games. You know, when that thing got released, it crashed FTP servers all over the world, and people trying to download it and share it and get it out there as quickly as they possibly could to play Doom. And you know, it's the basis of what most FPSs have come, you know, since. So yeah, really, you know, obviously very cool. I'm terrible at, I'm not a approach people type person to just go, hey, you know, how are you doing? I suck at that. But it was good to see the guy in the flesh and hear him talk. And even later on, he was playing a Doom tournament with going up against people and literally destroying them in his own game, which is fair enough. You know, you would expect him to. I'm sure he's got thousands upon thousands of hours of playtesting Doom whilst he was developing it, and still now, right? So yeah, really cool to see that guy, and that's just in the stage. There's also, you know, Kim Justice was up there. It was really nice to meet her again. I didn't go, hey, I'm Martin from the Hobby Lodge. Like, that's not who I am, and who gives, and frankly, she wouldn't give a damn. But I got to meet her briefly and say hello, and, you know, a huge lover of everything that she does on her channel, and even on the Twitch streams as well. I think I actually saw her on Twitch before I saw her YouTube content. So that was really cool to see. And yeah, loads of people there, and I will go on to more about the community later on, but this was the stuff that was going on that stage. I even got to go up on stage myself, not planned in any way, please, but they were actually doing an IK Plus, not tournament, but it was a battle. It was, you know, come on stage and battle someone. So yeah, I love IK Plus. It's got to be one of my favorite fighters of all time. So, you know, the guy said, Mark, you got to go up on the stage, and I didn't want to go up on my own because I didn't want to beat up some 10-year-old might have killed me, but I didn't want to go and beat some kid up on stage in RK Plus. But RetroBait came up with me, Paul, my friend RetroBait. He came up on stage. We both played together. Of course I won, you know. It wasn't even a question. But no, it was really fun to get on stage with him and have a battle. And it got me, I think the guys recorded it, so hopefully you'll see footage of that as well. But that was the stage, lots of little pieces going on, really cool. And then the marketplace out the back. Oh, sorry, and also pinball machines as well. So if you're into your pinball machines, they must have had, again, I'll guess 20 pinball machines, all in a row out the back, which, again, all free play. People can jump on there. They were busy all the time. I didn't touch a single pinball machine. I'm not very good at pinball anyway, but they were absolutely... You know, they were being occupied 24/7, so I never got a chance to play them, but they look beautiful. Yeah, pinball machines do look beautiful. They are amazing things. I'd love to own one, but who has the space and the cost? So yeah, and like I say, I'm not good at it anyway. Then the marketplace out the back, which was probably the most disappointing part. I'll always be honest. My expectations were higher, you know. Because of what it was and where it was and the hype that I think there was around it. I thought this marketplace was going to be amazing. I thought, well, I'm going to go there and spend a fortune, right? It's going to be Amiga games and Commodore, and anything else I want to collect is going to be there because everyone's going to be there. But the reality is, it was probably 15 stalls, maybe less. It could have been less, right? It could have been actually more like 12. And even a couple of those weren't selling video games. They were selling posters, or they were selling toys and figures, and one guy was selling a pocket watch game, which is absolutely fine. There was board games as well, and I love board games, but it was a retro video gaming place, and this guy was selling this kind of not safe for work hard game, you know. And anyway, but I was a little bit disappointed by the amount of stalls selling really good games. So whilst I did pick a lot of things up, actually these were things that were were given to me, or they were part of the swap shop, Retro Chef swap shop, because I got to meet the people and they got to give me stuff that I bought from swap shop. So most of the pickups I'm going to show you are from that sort of trading with other YouTubers or from the swap shop, rather than actually buying stuff. And I'll tell you what I bought at the end. But yeah, not a huge amount. I went thinking it was going to be a wallet breaker, and it frankly it wasn't. So yeah, you know, saw some cool stuff there. I got to see a multi-mega for the first time in the flesh. I think that was like £450. I'm not interested in it, but it was cool to see one and go, oh, that's a multi-mega. It was gone by the second day, so clearly someone bought it. If you bought it, let me know. There was an Amiga 1200 there, actually really good value. Price wise, I don't know too much about pricing. I just pay what I think I'm happy to pay for something, rather than is it market value, whatever. But I did see a fully boxed Amiga 1200, and that was going for about £350, which I think is pretty good. There was an unboxed Amiga 1200 for £280. Now that is good. You know, you're talking 300 plus on eBay all day. So I think the prices were there or thereabouts. You know, some of my friends bought some bits and pieces. You know, one of them bought something that I think was way undervalued, and this sort of. So I think there was like, and others said that things were overpriced. So I think it was a balancing act. I think if you knew what you were looking at, you would find a bargain. And if you just went and bought stuff, well, if you're happy to pay what it cost you, then you're happy. So I don't think it was any major bargains or any overpricing. I think it was probably right in the middle. So, which is always nice, right? But for me, it lacked the quantity. You know, it lacked the. I just wanted more. I've seen more at London gaming markets. I've seen more. Go to the Retro Realm. Sega Zombie Scott, Retro Realm in Ipswich. I'm always going to shout him out because I love him. His shop had an amazing selection of stuff, and you know, well, some of these people were missing quite significant amounts. So yeah, a little bit disappointed. But hey, that's just one thing, right? What else is there to talk? So that was the venue. That was all of the locations. You know, the biggest piece for me was meeting the community. There were so many people there, and I am going to forget names, and I'm probably going to remember some whilst I say some names. But if I don't say your name, or that's not, I'm also terrible with names. If someone comes up to me and says, "Hi, I'm John," I've instantly forgotten your name. I'm that bad. But that was for me the best bit, was meeting and greeting, shaking hands, going, "Oh, you're awesome, I love your stuff," you know, because half of these people I watch on YouTube all the time, well, most of these people I watch on YouTube all the time. It was great to meet. Obviously, you know, I went up there to meet some guys that I'm friends with, so, you know, Ginger Hippie Gaming, who I will shout out again later because he gave me something that is really special. In fact, no, actually, I'm going to talk about it now. I'm going to grab it now. So this will mean nothing. This is the awesome thing about retro video gaming and nostalgia and the power it has, right? So because this, I'm going to be careful not to get choked up on this now, because even holding this in my hand has I'm not going to get caught out again, because I've been caught out once. And it's this game here, right? And this game here will mean nothing to most people. Most people probably never even heard of this, right? So this is Phoenix Adventure on the ZX81. And it's a text adventure, you know, it's nothing sexy about it. But this is one of my oldest gaming memories with my dad, right? I can remember vividly this, like, I can't tell you what the game's like. I can't talk about what the story's about. I can't describe anything apart from I know it's a text adventure. But this case would be on the floor in my mum and dad's bedroom in like a little wicker basket where he kept his tapes for his ZX81. And yeah, sorry. And this would be on the top. This would be like always looking at me when I used to go in there and sit with him and play games. You know, it was there's a couple, right? There's Black Crystal. There is this game. And Gremlins on the ZX81, and I think they're all text adventures. He used to love text adventures, and by the way, I sound like I'm talking like he's not here. My dad is here. He loves scripts. He still loves video gaming. He's an old man, but he loves it. But this is this is quite a special game to me, because I remember this just sitting there, and it's just, that is the power this hobby has, right? That when I forgot about this game. and I can't remember what it was now. Me and Si were having a conversation. And I think I just said to him, "Oh, I remember my dad had a game called Phoenix on the ZX81," and he literally messaged me and said, "What do you mean this one?" And he sent me the picture, and as soon as that picture I saw it, it hit. It was like bang, wallop. You know, that is a memory that I brought back. So when I saw him yesterday, for the on the Saturday when I saw him, went straight in, said hello, and he took my hand and he put that in it, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I welled up. It means an awful lot for me to have this, and it's gonna go. I mean, I have no means of playing it. I don't actually own a ZX81. I'm gonna try and fix that, and I'm gonna fire this up. And I have yet to. I need to message my dad and see if he remembers it as well. He probably won't. It probably won't mean much to him, but to my, you know, I must have been. This must be one of my early memories, right? 4 or 5 years old, maybe. So yeah. So I'm sorry, I rattled on, but. Si, you're a legend, mate. Thank you. Thank you very, very much indeed. Well, so the community. Sorry, this is one long take. Like I said, I'm tired. The community, you know, Alex U-Star Gamer, Rob Knotts Gamer, Paul Retro Bay, Sijin GP Gaming, Pete on a Retro Tip, Kim Justice, Super Jim Tendo, 8-Bit Retro Refix, so many people there, and I said hello, you know, whether it was quick or, you know, just bumping into people. You know, obviously seeing John Romero and Jim Bagley. Jim Bagley, who's very famous in the Spectrum sort of game development. I mean, clearly he was developing for the wrong system and he should have been developing for the Commodore 64, obviously, but we'll forgive him that. But even, you know, just meeting him for a few minutes and having a chat, then, you know, it was just so nice walking around, seeing friendly faces, even if it was for the first time, because I've only ever seen them on screen or they've seen me on screen. And yeah, actually no one recognized, no one went to me, "Oh, Mark, you're from the Hobby Lodge." That didn't happen once, so let's get that straight. It was mostly me saying, "Oh, awesome, I love your channel, I love what you do." So that was really genuinely really nice. And we even went out once the Saturday night sort of finished down. Some of them could stay because some of them were there for the, you know, they been invited as press. You know, they've got big enough. You know, Kim Justice has got a massive channel. There's people there that've got huge channels. OSG, I'm forgetting Paul OSG. He was there, Old Style Gamer, and you know, he's there as press as well. So they got to stay to an after event, like an after party, where they could have access to all the machines and everything. That was really cool. But then some of us went out into Blackpool. And there was a bar that we went to called Scream and Shake. And now this is bizarre, right? This is like a B horror movie themed cafe that's also a bar. They had live music, which was chip tunes, kind of synthwave, but also with a beatboxer and an electric guitar, and this guy rapping. That was bizarre, but I mean, I was toe tapping, I was happy, and I ended up in a leather recliner, stretched out, with an alcoholic milkshake in this setting. So you know, if I can say one thing for Blackpool, it's got something for everybody, right? That was a great night out with the boys. You know, getting to have a little taste of what's in Blackpool. So I'd love to go back again. And I guess that's probably the main thing for me, is that experience of going out and having a group of friends. And you know, personal thing about me, I don't have a huge group of friends. I don't have like the lads that you go out with. So you know, having this opportunity to go and meet some people and just let your hair down, if I had any, you know, it was fantastic. So I really enjoyed doing that, and yeah, it was just a great weekend. So let's jump into pickups, and then maybe I'll sort of wrap things up, right? So the first thing, well, not the first thing I bought, but one of the things I bought was a Cruiser joystick. So this is it here. This is not the one that I love. The one I love is on the table there. See that one? That's the one, the multicolored one. I have a couple of those and I'm going to get more of them. That's the one I had when I was a kid, right? But this was £10 on a market stall. And it was so funny because about 3 or 4 people that I met throughout the day kept going, oh, did you see in the market they had a cruiser for 10 quid? That's an absolute bargain. I was like, yeah, I know, I got it. So it is a bargain, right? These things go for 20, 30 quid all day, depending on condition. And this one's actually in a really lovely condition. It barely feels like it's been used. It is, excuse the sort of, clear, like, euphemism here, but it's got a tight stick. And that's all I can say. It really does feel very, very sort of new almost, right? Hardly touched. Buttons are in good condition. Everything about it is fantastic. So I now have one to keep on the desk here with my Amiga 600. I've got a really high quality one that I use with the 1200 and the C64, and I'm picking up some spares. Right, some other bits and pieces. Well, this was a pickup that I didn't have to pay for, thankfully. So my friend Alex U-Star Gamer, I had a broken Game Boy Advance. Just a warning to anyone, I bought a eBay charger, an eBay multi-charger for it fits every Nintendo handheld possible with various little adapters. Well, I'm going to say be careful of them. Test them before you use them, because it blew this up. Made the battery swirl and then had a burning smell from it as well. So Alex said his brother fixes these things. Well, has a go at fixing them anyway. I said, mate, well, it's broken. If you can do it, you can do it. And guess what? We have, hey, there we go, a lovely working Game Boy Advance. So thank you, Alex. Tell your brother he's an absolute superstar. Because yeah, I love this little thing, and I loved it. I mean, this is the one I wanted, right? The NES style one. So I picked this up from Sega Zombie, the Retro Realm, a good little while ago now. It was actually the first thing I ever bought from his shop when I first went and visited it. So I was gutted it was broken, because it has a story. It's from the Retro Realm. It's the first time I met Sega Zombie Scott, the first purchase I ever got from his store. And now it's been fixed by Alex U-Star Gamer's brother. It's got a great little bit of history already. So I'm really glad that this is back. So that was another thing I got to pick up. This was another gift. As you know, you all know Ginger Hippie Gaming. He loves his Spectrum. I love the Commodore. We both love both things. No, I like the Spectrum. He likes the Commodore. We love our things, right? He loves the Spectrum. I love the Commodore. So we always joke and banter with each other. And he found a store that only sold Spectrum and Amstrad games. And it turns out the guy had one Commodore game, and it was £1. So he felt sorry and bought it for me. So he paid £1 for this game here, and who knows what this is like, called Dancing Monster on the C64. It looks, I mean, who knows what it looks like, because there's actually no information whatsoever, apart from it's been recorded in full color and sound. I'm not even sure if it does say it requires a joystick, so there we go. It is actually a game, but there's no images, no nothing, so prepare to see a video on this one. But Si, thanks, mate, that's awesome. What else did I pick up? This one actually was a purchase, but thankfully I had someone go and pick it up for me. So Ginger Hippie Gaming and RetroTip were there a day early. I believe they were on the Friday. And they went out to the charity shops, and they found a store that was selling some Commodore 64 games, and they had Stunt Car Racer, the Kicks label, for a tenner. He sent a picture out. I actually spotted it. He didn't see the picture. He sent a picture out. Oh, look, this place sells tapes. And I spotted in the picture that they had this. And I don't actually own it on tape. So I messaged him and said, oh, if you're still around, go back and see if you can pick up Stunt Car Racer for me. I thought it was only £3, to be honest, in the picture, which is not a bad mistake to make, because it does actually say £2.89 on there, which is the original sale price. But it was £10. But very happy to pay £10 to have a tape copy of Stunt Car Racer. So that was the second pickup. Let's do something from the actual market I picked up. We were walking around and we were talking about games, and this game kept coming up as one that everyone universally loves, and I saw it on the Game Gear, so I picked it up, and that is Fantasy Zone, which is a really fun little shooter. Everyone knows what Fantasy Zone is. Everyone was talking about it from the Master System. I have the Master System copy, but I saw it on the Game Gear, and I was like, I'm going to pick up the Game Gear. The Game Gear for me is the one I had as a child. Everyone I knew had a Game Boy. I had a Game Gear, I had the color screen, I really enjoyed it, and the Game Gear is one that I would like to get modded. So it was something I will do in the future. I'll have a crack at putting a new screen in there, yeah, see if I can bring it back to life, as it were. But I'm really looking forward to playing this on the Game Gear. It's a great game. Next up, we'll do some pickups from the swap shop, right? So that's something else I got. Obviously, because I met Retro. If anyone watches the swap shop, they'll know that anytime someone puts Commodore 64 stuff up on the screen, there's a good chance I'm going to buy it. So this is stuff that I got from RetroBait, because he always puts stuff up on there, and I try and jump on it as quick as I can before anyone else gets there. I'm type the fastest I can get it before anyone else. So this is just some stuff that I picked up from him. These two were just for the Sega Master System. I did a video a little while ago that I got a Sega Master System in the Play It Forward box, and this was stuff that I got from that. So Space Harrier, Chuck Rock's a brilliant game. Space Harrier's a great game, right? I mean, these are fantastic. I actually really like Chuck Rock, and the second one where you're the baby, and the name's gone out of my head. I am tired. This video's getting on a bit as well. I am the second one, Son of Chuck, on the Amiga. They're great games. We got Secret Diary of Agent Mole. I do remember this game. I do remember it being terrible, but I haven't got it, so I've picked it up. That's a terrible reason to buy games, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Raid 2000. I purely went for this when he's like a drug dealer, isn't he? Anytime he puts something on the screen, I buy it from him. So yeah, Raid 2000. We'll definitely be checking these things out. Turns out I actually own this next game, but hey, I've got another copy of it now, and of course it is the game before IK Plus, so it is Way of the Exploding Fist. So my version might be appearing on a swap shop coming soon. We've also got Starion, another cool like space shooter game with kind of almost like vector-based graphics. Looks really cool, so we'll be checking that one out. This little Quattro series here, so we've got Pinball, Fruit Machine, Fast Food, and Pub Trivia. These are just throwaway games, but I do like just seeing them and remembering them, because some of these I will remember. It'd be interesting to play a pinball machine on the Commodore 64, because I haven't yet, and I generally do like a pinball game. The adventure ones I absolutely love, like Dragon's Fury on the Mega Drive and stuff like that. This is a great game, and I haven't actually played this on the Commodore 64. I've played it on the Amiga a ton, but Swiv on the Commodore 64, which, if you don't know, is a top-down shooter. And it's yeah, you can be the helicopter or the buggy. Everyone wants to be the helicopter, but yeah, great game, and really good on the Amiga. So I want to see how it compares to the Commodore 64 version. Another great game. I own this on disc. I own both of them on disc, actually. The reprints that came from Cytronics, and that is Creatures 1 and 2. So this is now Creatures on tape. And how could I not own this game? It's in my favorite games of all time. It's in my most played games, but I don't own it yet on the Commodore 64. And we all know it's terrible on the Commodore 64, because one thing is you've only got one button, but it is Street Fighter 2. How could you not own it? Street Fighter 2 on the Commodore 64. It's the Kicks label. I'm told that the blue labels are quite rare, so it's the blue label Kicks, or not rare, but just like on the more expensive side of things. But yes, very happy to own Street Fighter, because it's an amazing game. Of course, it's better on the Super Nintendo, but hey, we're going to play it on the Commodore 64. Right, let's keep trucking, shall we? Then some Amiga. Oh, let's do another. I got given this as well. So I've spoken to Pete on a RetroTip a number of times. I actually got to go against him in the quiz from RetroBait. I lost. Well, you know, no, he's much more knowledgeable about video games than I am. Well, I didn't lose terribly. I think I only lost by 2 or 3 points. And there were a couple of questions that I got right that he got wrong. We definitely got them, you know. So I know I can kind of hold my head up a little bit. But he offered anyone who wanted it. This Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker on the Amiga. So I jumped at it, right, because this is an absolutely minty condition. Everything about it is perfect. The manual is perfect. It even has the card overlay, not overlay, the card instructions, so you know all the different controls. It has the huge instructions book that comes with it, and again, you can see absolutely perfect. Not a crease, not a dent. In fact, I think I might have caused the crease when I put it in my bag. It's got a little bit of a dent there, but the box is in great condition. No marks, no nothing. And he just said, yeah, just let me know who wants it. I said, I'd love to take it, mate, because I'm sort of putting together my big box Amiga games now. And this is a great game. Jimmy's White Wine Snooker, that and Archie McLean's Pool. This is the bee's knees on the Amiga. So yeah, very happy to have that in my collection, because this isn't just filler. This is genuinely a fantastic snooker game. So yeah, really happy to have that in my collection. So yeah, Pete on RetroTip, thank you very, very much indeed. Next two are pickups from the market. The first one is Putty. I'm sure everyone probably knows this game. It got released on most things. It's a bit beaten up, but you know, I saw it there. Like I say, there wasn't a lot to buy, so I was kind of like, well, I'll pick up some stuff. You always feel like you feel a little bit obliged to buy some stuff. So I picked this up. And yeah, it's 3 discs. That's all you're going to get. It's all that's in there is just the 3 discs of Putty. I've just noticed that one of them has the label upside down. So that if I show you, if I try and show you all 3 discs here, this 1, 2, and 3, you'll probably notice that one of them, the label is upside down. So disc 2, this 2 has the label upside down, makes it unique. So rarer. So yeah, Putty. So that was it's actually a nice little platformer where you can you punch. You can do all sorts of things with a putty. I remember the one big one was that you can throw a big fist out to hit the enemies. So that was obviously good. This one I bought purely on recommendation. So again, whilst walking around, Si said, "Oh, this is a great game, Martin. You should check it out." So the label's gotten stuck. All right, so this is I'm not sure I can even pronounce it. Oh, it is. It's Dominator. There we go, Dominator on the C64. And it just looks like a side. I might own this, actually. I might have this in a compilation. I've got a shooting compilation. Let me just check. I wonder if it's on here. Was it this Joystick Thunderer? No, I was looking at that, but it's not on there. So that's good. It means I don't own it. So yeah, the Dominator on the C64. So I'm definitely going to play that on a Monday Night Retro. And then and then I'll finally end this video and you guys can leave. Because you're probably, if you made it this far, you're an absolute champion. And we're 37 minutes in. The last thing was a big box collection, which I do love collections. I buy loads of them if I see them, like this one and the things like this. You know, all of these big boxes with when they've got loads of games in. And I saw this one and I thought for 10 quid, this is an absolute bargain. So this is a big box collection number 2 for the Amiga, and it has in it Back to the Future 3, R-Type, amazing, Armalite, brilliant, Bomboozle, TV Sports Football, IK Plus, I can never have enough copies of IK Plus, Real Ghostbusters, Sinbad, Shanghai, and Defenders of the Earth. Did anyone say Defenders of the Earth without going, Defenders? Defenders of the Earth, Defenders. You just can't help yourself say it, can you? But yeah, that was 10 quid for, you know, what is that? 4, 7, 10 games. It says on the box, I should have just said 10 without counting. But 10 games for 10 quid. That's £1 an Amiga game. You ain't gonna go wrong, are you? So yeah, I'm gonna really enjoy going through that box and playing those. And I think that's it. I think that's all the things I picked up. I'm just thinking, yeah, that was it. So whilst the market was small there, I did pick up some pieces, but a lot of it, as you can see, actually came from people that I've either bought from Swap Shop or traded with or whatever. So yeah, really, really good. So anyway, how am I going to finish this video off? I'll give you my wrap up of the event, right? I enjoyed myself. I actually had a great time. Would I go back to Blackpool for Play Expo 2023? No, if I was going alone. So if I wasn't planning on meeting people and doing stuff, then I wouldn't go. The expo enough wouldn't make me go 5-6 hours in a car or 5 hours on a train to go to the expo. There wasn't enough there to warrant it. There are places much closer to home for me personally that I could go and do. So that's that piece. But was it worth it going to meet the people I meet and had the time I had? 100%. The community, the friends, the interactions, the laughs. You know, I said some one-liners that thank God they weren't recorded or anything. I said a certain sentence during Gauntlet that after I said it, I was like, okay, that's thank God no one recorded me saying that, because it would have been on someone else's video of Mark just said this. So anyway, that whole piece, that whole interaction was really nice. It was really good to meet people, shake hands. Like I said before, all those people I met, and if I didn't mention you, I am sorry, but if you saw me, I was great to meet you, and I can't wait to see you again. That would be the only reason I'd go back. I would not have gone on my own to the expo. It wasn't enough. The market especially, you know, there wasn't enough there. That needs to be 2-3 times bigger than what it was, frankly. And they would have made an absolute fortune. I was thinking I was going to go there and spend several hundreds of pounds, and I didn't, because there wasn't anything there to get. So yeah, that was that bit. But yeah, the arcades were nice and everything else. But as I said, not enough to go on its own. So I wouldn't go back. But the interactions, the people, is what made me go, and is what will make me go again if it happens next year. I'm really looking forward to some events down this end of the world as well, so do let me know if there's any really big retro events that happen in the southeast of England. That would be amazing. But yeah, generally had a really great time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've seen some footage throughout. I hope you've been okay with me rambling. I have done this in one entirely long take, so there's no breaks in this whatsoever. So I need to go and get a drink now because my throat was sore at the beginning of this. You can trust me, it's pretty dry now. And I just appreciate your time listening. So if you fancy giving it a like, that'd be amazing. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That would be a really great thing to do. Hit the bell, all of those things. Leave a comment. Did you go? Did you enjoy it? That would be really nice to hear. And otherwise, I will see you on the next video. We've got Monday Night Retros coming up. We've got videos of all this stuff that I'm going to be playing and making videos on. But yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Right, bye bye.